Some mysteries cannot be explained in ancient Egypt, a country known for its imposing pyramids and divine mysteries. Its centerpiece is the Great Pyramid of Giza, a marvel of architecture perfectly matched with the cosmos. Beyond its grandeur, encounters with extraterrestrial beings are suggested by myths about gods like Khepri and Osiris. Could these gods, worshipped as heavenly pilots and resurrected beings, be a sign of advanced technology or even alien visitors? Explore the mysteries of Egypt, where connections to the stars may be revealed by ancient legends. Egypt's Giza Plateau. Perhaps the most mysterious building on the planet is the Great Pyramid. The only ancient wonder that has survived, its construction and function have been continuously debated. Researchers have been in awe of the mathematical knowledge encoded in the Great Pyramid and the measurements it uses ever since the first studies of the pyramid were conducted in Egypt. Even the Great Pyramid's location has sparked a lot of interest among Egyptologists. No other structure on Earth is more precisely aligned than the Great Pyramid, which is within 360ths of a degree up north. In terms of alignment, the Great Pyramid is extremely near to the true north. Since the Earth's axis has been slowly shifting, the idea of tracking back in time is even more intriguing. It's what we call processes, so if that alignment has changed, it might have been even more precisely aligned to the north when it was first constructed. In addition to being precisely oriented about the cardinal points, the Great Pyramid appears to have been placed on Earth with a purpose. When you trace a massive circle from the Great Pyramid in both cardinal and ordinal directions, you will discover that it passes through more land than any other place on Earth. You discover that the Great Pyramid is practically situated in the middle of the Earth's surface. Mathematicians and researchers have found even deeper connections with geodetic information, that is, information about the measurement and representation of the Earth, encoded in the Great Pyramid's design, according to a precise survey of the structure conducted in 1925. The Great Pyramid was constructed using technology that was far more advanced than anything we have now. The inch is not used the way it is in the English system, it's the cubit, and what's fascinating about it is that it is precisely 125 millionths of the Earth's polar diameter, or the distance between the North and South poles. Cut it into 25 million pieces and you'll have your cubit. It's flawless. 365.24 pyramid cubits, which coincidentally happens to be the year length down to a quarter there, can be obtained by measuring the Great Pyramid's length at its mean socket level, which is the corners of the actual structure. An exact fraction of the latitude and longitude measurements at the equator can be found in the length and width measurements of the Great Pyramid's perimeter. This means that the Great Pyramid is a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere, since it directly correlates to both the equator's circumference and the distance from the equator to the pole. Researchers recently discovered another sophisticated formula encoded in the design using satellite technology. The Great Pyramid's location can be used as a coordinate, and the number sequence associated with it precisely corresponds to the speed of light in space, expressed in meters per second. This stuff is incredible. You can't just write all of this off as coincidence when you think about how much information about the Earth is encoded in the Great Pyramid. Places of burial: Egypt's Valley of the Kings, India's Taj Mahal in Agra, and Palenque, Mexico, the tomb of King Bakal around the world. There are breathtaking graveyards that are thousands of years old. Mainstream researchers believe that these sites represent the last resting places of ancient leaders. However, could they also have a deeper, possibly extraterrestrial function? Why do we still have the largest structures from the distant past? Well, our ancestors received this knowledge from the gods, according to ancient texts and traditions. Why are almost all of these associated with ideas of spiritual energy, pictures of astronomy, and a strong belief in the existence of other, possibly more spiritual worlds, if the only purpose of tombs was to house the dead? Because the soul is embarking on a journey to the afterlife, cultures believe that opening a doorway, a stargate, or a gateway to another dimension will allow the soul to return. It was believed in the ancient world that we have the chance to prepare for a great destiny that awaits us beyond this life by living this physical life. Is it possible that ancient tombs had a different, more alien function, such as acting as portals to connect the dead with angels. Many theorists of ancient astronauts think that delving deeper into the enigmatic ancient Egyptian texts will reveal the answers. Saqqara. One of Egypt's oldest and biggest cemeteries, this archaeological site is located 20 miles south of Cairo, on the west bank of the Nile River. The Pyramid of King Teti, the first ruler of Egypt's 6th dynasty, is located above the massive necropolis. More than 4,000 years ago, during his reign, Teti constructed his pyramid and a mortuary temple next to it. The pyramid texts, the oldest religious writing in the world, are found in this pyramid, which makes it extremely significant today. Archaeologists claim that the pyramid texts are a compilation of religious writings from ancient Egypt that go all the way back to 2400 BC. They describe how to prepare the pharaoh's remains for his afterlife ascent to the heavens and mention Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife. Ancient astronaut theorists, however, contend that the pyramid texts taught the pharaoh how to travel to other worlds, in addition to directing him to an afterlife. It is crucial to understand that the gods were among them some 25,000 years ago, according to the ancient Egyptians. Then they vanished once more. The texts from the pyramids indicate that we, the ancient Egyptians in particular, can communicate with the gods once more. This requires death, but we can rejoin the gods afterward. We are discussing some sort of extra-dimensional journey that the soul can take. The delta of Egypt and the Nile. The rolling cocoon of a dung beetle leaves a trail on the desert floor, only a few centimeters wide. This odd-looking insect, also known as a scarab, is 2 inches long and feeds on the dung as well as storing its eggs there. It is the only insect on Earth that can navigate by following the Milky Way galaxy's light, and it will roll the ball in a straight line no matter what. This was only discovered in 2013 by biologists. However, the ancient Egyptians revered the scarab as a sacred symbol, signifying a connection to the gods 5,000 years ago, probably unaware of its special association with the stars. Interestingly, a major civilization would give such careful consideration to a small insect, yet it can be seen all over Egyptian temples and hieroglyphics. It's an extremely common image. A massive scarab beetle, symbolizing the Egyptian deity Khepri, watches over the sacred lake at the temple of Karnak, where the pharaohs were crowned. During the day, Egyptians observed the sun moving across the sky. Additionally, you would see beetles moving balls of dung around the desert sands. Therefore, the Egyptians believed that Khepri, a giant scarab beetle god, was the force that moved the sun across the sky. They thought that the sun was Ra's chariot, or flying machine, also known as the Eye of Ra. They also thought that the scarab-headed god Khepri was the force behind its movement. The scarab stood in for Khepri, Ra's sunship, or barge's pilot, if you will. In essence, they were the gods and the pilot. However, is there another reason why Khepri was considered a pilot by the Egyptians? According to ancient astronaut theorists, the Egyptians' actual encounters with an extraterrestrial entity may have served as the inspiration for Khepri's depiction as a scarab and occasionally as a human with a scarab head. The ancient Egyptians took enormous pride in etching their history into innumerable walls, leaving one to question whether these creatures ever existed. I think it's quite possible that some of the creatures we see in carvings and reliefs may have existed in the past, because according to the ancient astronaut theory, we all evolved through a purposeful mutation of our genes. Could the ancient Egyptians have come across extraterrestrial creatures that resembled insects? Yes, according to ancient astronaut theorists, and additional evidence suggests that the Egyptians' fascination with the scarab permeated their funeral rites. Egypt's Abydos, the ruins of the Osiris Hall, where thousands would congregate to worship the underworld deity, are located within this vast archaeological site, which is 7 miles west of the Nile. As one of Egypt's pharaohs, Osiris was believed to have had a physical existence on Earth, unlike many other gods. A winged disk of the sun is frequently used to represent him. Even though a lot of academics have said that this is just a way to worship the sun, the Egyptians believed that the sun had wings and was at the center of the sky. Therefore, something else was portrayed, in my view, an alien incident that happened in real life. Many people question whether Osiris was made of flesh and blood, even though the majority of ancient astronaut theorists think that the Egyptian gods were extraterrestrial visitors. One of the most well-known tales associated with Osiris is that his envious brother, Seth, dismembered him. Seth lost his temper and ripped his brother's lifeless body into 14 pieces. However, Isis, the devoted wife, looked everywhere, located the fragments, and put them back together. He was successfully brought back to life by Isis. When I hear a story like that, where a being is dismembered, and then someone puts the pieces together and magically resurrects him, I have to wonder if Osiris was a biological being, or if he was a machine or a robot. Ancient astronaut theorists believed that the ancient pyramid texts, which depict the Djed pillar as Osiris's spine, provide the best evidence that Osiris might have been a robot. In his resurrected state, Osiris was depicted as a pillar that remarkably resembles a Tesla coil in the present day. It was believed that the Djed pillar was a power pillar. It appears as though Isis has her hand stuck into Osiris's back in this carving from Abydos, and Seth may be illustrating how she was controlling Osiris. Is it possible that Osiris's story is entirely different from what we have traditionally believed? Could it be that our ancestors once came into contact with extremely advanced alien robots? And if so, could there be some concrete proof? Yes, according to ancient astronaut theorists,